I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey friends, Brian Santos here, and this is Quarantine with the Stars here on AfterBuzz TV. Today, I'm joined by a filmmaker who's set to make his directorial debut in the riveting new documentary, You Don't Know Me. This is Jeffrey McHale. Jeffrey, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, Brian.
So excited. Let's kind of just jump right in. I want to start by checking in with you, catching up with you, seeing how you're doing. So how are you and what are your thoughts on what's happening in the world today?
Yeah, we are hanging in there. It's just everything going on in the last few weeks has just been really inspiring to see the kind of collective global movement kind of coalesce around Black Lives Matters. And I think it's really important that we upend and dismantle kind of racist policies and, the culture of white supremacy. So I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful about where this could take us.
Definitely. You've been very open about your stance on Twitter, which is great. Sharing, resources, sharing things that people can use in this time. What do you think is the next step? Like, what do you think we can do next to get more, move forward with this movement?
Yeah, I think, just speaking as like a white person, I think it's just important that we kind of go beyond empathy and figure out how we can, what the action we can take. And so I think a lot of it is educating ourselves. I think it's, donating to organizations on the ground. So I think, it's just important for each person to kind of figure out what they kind of on an individual level can do to make an impact, so that, change happens.
Definitely. Let's jump into kind of the quarantine life. So thankfully, we're starting to open up a little bit across the country. But how have you been keeping busy throughout these last 3 months?
Very busy. Yeah. Me and my husband, we have a 3.5-year-old son. So, it's kind of nonstop here at our house. And thankfully, I've had Nomi to kind of keep me distracted and very busy with the last few weeks and months and stuff. So, we're both working from home and parenting. So, there's a lot of juggling going on. The place is a mess, but we're all together, and that's important. We're spending a lot of time together.
That's amazing. I always joke that if I was kind of stuck in quarantine with my significant other, I would probably hit him or something. Very much we would bump heads. Has there been any bumping heads? Have you guys been getting along okay?
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously, like things are going to be tough at times, and that's just kind of how things happen. But I think, we have a great set of like communication and, partnership. So we kind of both know what needs to get done and what like our son needs. So, we've been obviously managing pretty well. We're lucky. We're very, very fortunate.
That's great to hear. Before we talk about You Don't Know Me, I want to kind of know more about your story. So how did you find yourself in the world of filmmaking?
I have been a fan of films ever since I was a young boy. So I started making films, my parents' basement with my dad's camcorder, probably when I was 7 or 8 years old, and had just kind of kept going. And it started exploring films in high school, and I made my own movies all throughout high school and went to film school in Chicago. And that's when I kind of started to more focus on editing, and I got a job in television editing, and that's kind of primarily where for the last few years I focused a lot of my work was just editing television. And so I've always been a fan of film. I've always wanted to direct, but this kind of opportunity and this project just kind of it popped into my head, and it just was like the perfect thing that I could do on my own time from my laptop at my kitchen table. And I really wanted to kind of dive deeper into the world of Showgirls. And yeah.
I love that. You mentioned that editing hat. Like, what is that role like for you? Like, what is the kind of like day to day, and how is that for you?
Yeah, so right now I edit 2 shows. One is a weekly show, arts and culture show, over here on Spectrum News Network. Just kind of talking about things to do, culture, arts in the Southern California area. So yeah, we have a weekly show. The stories come back in from the field from the producers, and we turn them around, and I make sure everything goes to air on time. So and the other one's a 30-minute science show. So they're two very different shows, but they're both equally enjoying.
Fun. You also have experience with acting. Do you see yourself kind of jumping back into that realm anytime soon?
Oh my gosh, me? No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't act. Yeah, and I have really, really enjoyed the past few years just doing more documentary work, and so
Yeah.
I think that's where I kind of want to focus, all my energy
That's
now.
great. All right, so I'm super excited. Let's talk about You Don't Know Me. So it's all
Sure.
about the iconic cult classic movie Showgirls. What inspired you to
Mhm.
create this project? Like, what really drew you to Showgirls and making this?
Yeah, I Showgirls I've always been a fan of it ever since I saw it. I kind of came to it late in life. It was probably 10 years after it came out. And at that point, it had already become like a queer cult classic. And, I saw Showgirls the way I feel many people see Showgirls, where a friend sits you down and says, you need to watch this right now. And that's exactly what happened for me. And just ever since that first viewing, I've always just been so intrigued by it. And I was actually at the end of the documentary, we feature a scene at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery where it was the 20th anniversary of Showgirls, and Elizabeth Berkley came there and introduced the film. And I was there that night. I was one of those 4,000 people in the audience. And she said something that really stuck with me, which was that that she said this was the first time in 20 years that she will be seeing the film with the audience that embraced it. And that really stuck with me, and I really wanted to. After that night, I started to kind of read and consume everything that had been written about Showgirls, and was just fascinated by these diverse, interesting perspectives, points of view, relationships with the film, and just how the conversation kind of just continues to evolve. And it's a film that we're not done yet with. We haven't really quite figured it out, and I think that's probably why we're still kind of intrigued by it and why there is so much kind of interest in it. So after that, I just started reaching out to the people that wrote those articles, those books, those poems, those musicals, and thought, okay, like there's a story here. Like I really kind of want to explore this more. And I didn't shoot a frame of video for the documentary. It's all original audio interviews. So I sent an audio kit to each contributor, and we conducted our interview over Skype. And once they were done with the interview, they boxed it up, and FedEx picked it up, and they shipped it back to me. So it was I did that for about 9 months. Then I started editing it. So
That's amazing. I do want to ask, because I know that Showgirls is I kind of feel like the following is heavily the LGBT community. I think it's safe to say that. So was it
yeah.
important for you to kind of release it during Pride Month in June? Was that something that you had in the front of your mind?
That was just luck. I mean, that was really just the way the timing worked out. We premiered last April, so over a year ago, at Tribeca in New York. And then we played at a lot of the LGBTQ festivals. We played at Frameline, we played at Outfest, we played, just all over the place. And we obviously, I know that, Showgirls is very near and dear to the LGBTQ community. And so it just kind of worked out perfectly that RLJ decided to, pick June for the release month. So
I love that. My first experience with Showgirls was actually RuPaul's Drag Race. They referenced it. I think it was like a scene where they tripped on like beads or something, and they're like Showgirls. I was like, oh, interesting. So I had to like go and Google it, and I've still yet to watch it, but I definitely need to, because again, like I said, I feel like it really is an LGBT kind of film. Like everybody in the LGBT community should see it. So I love that. Really quick, a fun little question I have for you. So I did some digging on your Twitter and I saw a tweet about Britney Spears. I just had to throw that out there because I'm a Britney Spears lover. They talked about her streams for Gimme More, and you said you're welcome. Like I feel like you streamed a lot of Gimme More. Is that true?
That is true. That is true. Yeah, yeah. It charted again, I think, a couple months ago, and I feel like that. Spotify has that that playlist like on repeat of the songs that you constantly listen to, and that's definitely one of them. I mean, that album is just it's classic. It's iconic. So
yes, I
yeah,
can listen to
all
Britney
those
forever.
tracks. Oh yeah.
I love that. Jeffrey, thank you so much for being here. It's been such a pleasure. Before we head out of here, I want to know what's next for you. What are you working on right now? What can fans expect next from you when quarantine is officially over?
Yeah, I definitely, I still have my day jobs and stuff, so we're kind of managing all that. But I have been, kind of before the pandemic hit and everything kind of got locked down. I was starting to kind of figure out what I wanted to do next, and so I don't necessarily want to focus on another film, but I have a couple topics that I would probably want to explore, all in the kind of pop cultural landscape, but in all documentary. So we'll see.
Amazing.
We'll see what lands.
Definitely. In the meantime, where can fans find you on social media, connect with you?
So the movie's on all the socials on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. My Jeffrey McHale is my Twitter, and You Don't Know Me Film is the social media handles for You Don't Know Me.
Perfect. Everybody make sure you go follow Jeffrey and You Don't Know Me on social media. Make sure you keep up with everything that's going on in his world. And check out You Don't Know Me right now. It's available to stream. So make sure you watch that. And just take care, everybody. Take care in quarantine and take care with everything going on in the world. I'm your host, Brian Santos. You can find me on all socials at the Brian Santos. This has been Quarantine with the Stars with Jeffrey McHale. Thank you so much again, Jeffrey. It's been a pleasure. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Thanks, Brian.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.